Nothing makes me happy like buying new books. Greetings, my name is Nina, you are watching Rockstar Wizardess, welcome back to my channel. Like always, here are from 9 to 12 new books. So I bought 11 books and I received one as a birthday gift. And aside from the books, I also got myself a very special thing. And I'm going to show you that in the end. Let's go. So after the last book haul, the very first book that I bought was Watership Down by Richard Adams. On this channel, I really cannot stop talking about The Talisman by Stephen King and Peter Straub. And this is relevant here because The Talisman is how I found out about Watership Down. In Russian, for some reason, this book is translated as A Residence of the Hills, or The Hill Residence, or something. In The Talisman, there was a sentence, something along the lines of, Jack wondered what Richard would have been like if on his table there were the copies of Lord of the Rings and The Watership Down. I do not know how it was exactly in the original. I really want to read The Talisman in English. I paid attention to Watership Down, googled it, and I knew I wanted to read it, so here I have it. So this is a story Richard Adams used to tell to his children. It's about rabbits who lived in a hole. I do not know much, but I'm really excited to read this and I really like this edition. On the inside, it's the same. Allow me to show you one thing. So here is The Road by Cormac McCarthy. This book appeared in my last book haul. And this is Watership Down, and they are from the same publisher. This is the same edition. I also have The Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Chbosky with a film cover in this edition. This is called the Azbuka bestseller. Azbuka is a Russian publishing house, and I like these editions. Oh, and I keep these two books near my old Lord of the Rings editions, because why not? I randomly entered the bookstore just to check out on things, and I saw yet another Penguin Little Classics edition. I keep forgetting how the edition is called. I saw it and I was like, why not? I should buy it. And I got myself To Be Read at Dusk by Charles Dickens. 3 chilling ghost stories, a tale of deadly premonitions, dreams intercepted, and specters bearing silent warnings. I keep forgetting that English is not my native language. In short, there are 3 short stories about ghosts here. I got myself this little book, Penguin Little Black Classics. Anyway, this year I realized that short stories are my go-to when I want to read, but I do not have the energy to read. Having a reading slump? Pick up a short story. So I'm still in the process of reading The Lottery and Other Stories by Shirley Jackson. I also got myself this one because I'm going to need more short stories in the future. So yeah, if you want to read but you can't, pick up a short story. I'm not showing you the books in the order of buying them. I only showed you the first one, Watership Down. This is the first book I bought after the last book haul. And I'm showing you now the last book I bought only a few days ago, prior to filming this video. Today is August 1st, 2024. I really did not know what edition of this book to buy. Should I read it in English or in Russian? I didn't know, and I finally had it enough, and I got myself the Russian copy of Oliver Twist by Charles Dickens. Yeah, more Charles Dickens here. So this is the book that has been adapted for the screen multiple times. And as far as I remember, it was adapted for the screen in 2005 too. So everybody knows what Oliver Twist is about. This is a story of a young boy who was orphaned and all the abuse he went through at the orphanage. I think everybody remembers the scene where Oliver asks for some more food. Please, I want some more. How can you forget that scene? And then Oliver escapes from his abusers, only to end up with another set of abusers. The thieves, the bandits, etc. This is mostly a satire of those orphanages. I actually read this book multiple times in 2007, but I had a very big book, very big copy of Oliver Twist, and I decided to get myself a small one. I also had adapted versions of Oliver Twist too, and yeah, I like that I have it finally. Then, one day in June, I decided that I was buying too much fantasy, and I decided to balance things with classics, or to be particular Russian classics. So I went to the bookstore and I just could not resist buying 2 Dostoevsky books. So here we have The Humiliated and The Insulted. In English, for some reason, the title is the other way around, Insulted and Humiliated. I really do not know why. I actually tried reading this book in 2018. I do remember that it was a story of a guy. His story began at a restaurant or at a cafe or something. And he hears a story of 2 reckless people in love. Unfortunately, I do not remember that story very well. I need to try again, here in a new edition. And I also have my aunt's copy. I need to give it back to her. So yeah, I'm glad I have this copy, a copy of my own. Also, when I bought this book, along with another Dostoevsky book I'm going to show you here, I understood that I'd rather own classics in these small editions. And another Dostoevsky book that I bought is the infamous Crime and Punishment. So you have the student Rodion Raskolnikov, this guy who believes that he should bring justice to the world, and he picks up an axe and he kills his landlord, and then he struggles about it. You know what, one great thing about reading Dostoevsky in Russian is that I really like this phrase «Тварь я дрожащая или право имею». It means, am I the shaking creature or do I have the right? I do not know how they translate it in English, but in Russian it sounds legit cool. So I read Crime and Punishment in 2017, and now I have my own copy here. I have an old Soviet edition and now I have a more modern one. I'm glad I have it. I considered buying a hardcover, but like I said, I'd rather have classics in paperback, and hardcover is for fantasy. The next book, I finally gave in. I kept seeing this book everywhere. Everybody kept talking about it. And yes, I gave in. I finally bought The Secret History by Donna Tartt. This book kept following me everywhere. Finally, I have my own copy on my hands. I decided not to look up this book. I know nothing of the book. I do not know who are the characters. I only know that there's a character named Henry. I also know that this book is set at an academia and there's a murder. It's basically a murder mystery. That's all. That's all. I'd rather not know anything else. Yes, I gave in. BookTok is slowly taking over my bookshelves. Help me. Another BookTok/BookTube masterpiece. I gave in. My Year of Rest and Relaxation by Otessa Moshfegh. BookTok is taking over! Help me! I do really like the cover. The cover looks memorable. You cannot forget that once you see it. Not only because of this girl per se, but also because of the font. What do I know about this book? This book is about a young woman who suffers the loss of her parents, and she has odd relationships with her boyfriend and her best friend. And she's rich. That's all I know. Like with The Secret History, I decided not to look up anything, and on TikTok, everyone kept talking about this book. BookTok is taking over, but then again, these books do seem interesting to me, and I said multiple times that I'm willing to give a BookTok masterpiece. I like to call the books popular on BookTok masterpieces. I'm willing to give them a chance if I find them interesting. So I'm giving a chance to The Secret History and My Year of Rest and Relaxation. On my birthday, I finally reunited with my friend who I haven't seen in a year because she went to live to the UK, and she brought me a book I have never heard about. I've never heard of this book, and she said that she bought it for me because she saw the cover. She saw a girl with a guitar on the cover, and that's why she bought it for me. And the book is Run, Rose, Run by Dolly Parton and James Patterson. I've never heard of James Patterson, never heard of him. Later I googled him and found out that he's a writer who tends to collaborate with other people. And Dolly Parton, she's a singer. You definitely heard the infamous I Will Always Love You song by Whitney Houston. And in case you didn't know, that song is a cover. It was originally by Dolly Parton. So you have the infamous singer and the writer collaborating on a book. She's a star on the rise, she's a singer on the run. Every song tells a story. She's a star on the rise, singing about the hard life behind her. She's also on the run, find a future, lose a past. Nashville is where she's come to claim her destiny. It's also where the darkness she's fled might find her and destroy her. In other words, this is a book about a girl with a guitar who is on the run from her past. Apparently, she's about to achieve fame with her music. Yeah, books with music themes. My cup of tea, absolutely. And I know that there's this music genre called country. I do not listen to country music, but I am willing to read this book. Well, my friend gave it to me, and also music themes are my thing. The cover is really nice. Huge thanks to my friend. I do not know if this counts as a haul since it was a gift, but I do not care. I still decided to show it here. Next one is a comic book. I got myself the second volume in the Northern Lights series by Malin Falk. The first one was called The Journey to the Valley of the Trolls, and the second one is called The Vikings and Oracles. Malin Falk is Norwegian, so the original version of the comics is Norwegian. It's translated into English. I know that there are 6 comics so far, and in Georgian they translated only the first 3. Gonna confess I have forgotten what was the premise of the comics. In case you are wondering, check out my previous book haul video where this comic appears. I love books with music themes, and I love myself band biographies or solo artist biographies. And once I saw the only ever authorized biography of the Beatles by Hunter Davis, I just could not leave it in the shop. For a few days I thought that this book was out of reach for me because at the end of May there was a book fair. I bought The Priory of the Orange Tree and Cursed there, and the book disappeared from the shelves at the shop. Well, they took a lot of books to the fair, but then after the fair I went to the bookstore and I found out that the book was still there, and obviously I got it for myself, and I just like the cover. I love the hardcover. So this is a biography of the Beatles, that's all I know. Ever since this book was published, 40 years passed. Well, 40 years something. The book was published in 1968, and I didn't think at the time that it is going to be reissued years later. It's still the same. It's about what they were thinking and doing in the 60s and how they ended up living life like this. Now this book is called the source material, mostly because it means that a lot of quotes are getting stolen from this book. And like it's written on the back of this book was published in 1968 and it has been reissued multiple times, and Hunter Davis made a few additions to this book, and yeah. Haven't read it yet and I do not know when I'm going to pick it up, but this is a band biography and I tend to pick up band biographies quite fast. And finally we have 2 books left. One might say that these 2 books count as one. So in my previous book haul I showed you the first book of Mistborn, The Final Empire, in Russian language for some reason translated as Ash and Steel. I bought that book in a soft cover, well there was no hardcover, and at the time I was fine with this book because I thought, oh, I would read the book just to try it out. But then I finished Elantris by the same author, Brandon Sanderson, and I realized that I want more of his books. So I went out there and bought the books 2 and 3 of Mistborn. Here we have The Well of Ascension and Hero of Ages. The second and third books are in hardcover and the first one is the paperback. It's small. And now I think that I should replace my edition of The Final Empire, Ash and Steel, because I really want hardcovers to match, and fantasy I want in hardcovers. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, here it comes the very special purchase. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I have great news. I am officially a Kindle girly! Yay! So here is my Kindle Paperwhite 11th generation, issued in 2021. So this Kindle has 32 gigabytes. It can fit around a few thousand books. No, I do not have a few thousand books here. I'm going to have them in the future, I guess. And I'm gonna confess that I finished Elantris in Russian on the Kindle. It was very difficult for me to read Elantris for some reason, and I decided to read it on a Kindle. I did, and I finished the book in 2 days. If I continued reading Elantris in the paperback copy that I own, it would have taken months. This is why ebooks are great. Unfortunately, they do not sell the cases for the Kindle, and I have to get them separately in the future. I love the Kindle and I carry it everywhere with me. This is a lifesaver because when I read a book, I want to carry it with me. And I also read A Priory of the Orange Tree on a Kindle, well, finished on a Kindle. But because it was very big and I couldn't carry it around with me anywhere, so this is why I read it in a Kindle, on a Kindle. Okay, and also because of the Kindle, I have a different approach to buying books now. I mostly buy the books that I want in my collection, because I am running out of space on my shelves, and this is a lifesaver. Alright, that's all. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. See you next time. Goodbye.